Good morning to anyone present here. I'm Ramya Devi, working as Assistant Professor in SNS College of Technology. Today I'm going to share a small article regarding JavaScript exceptions. So before going to the video, we'll see what are exceptions. So what is the difference between an exception and an error? So error is abruptly stops the execution of the program whenever an error occurs. So the error can be a syntax error or a type error, so whatever may be. And if but exception is whenever an error occurs, when it is gracefully handled, then it is called as an exception. So we can handle those exception in many ways. So, like first we'll understand what are JavaScript exceptions and how gracefully it is handled. So, in the world of web development, JavaScript exceptions are an inevitable part of the coding process, which learns to handle them effectively, crucial for building robust and reliable applications. So, whenever we are trying to build a reliable application, so the exceptions should not occur because the users will have a great headache whenever the application crashes due to an error. So it should be it should be handled carefully in the design of the program itself. So for handling that error, we need the JavaScript code executes line by line, meaning like errors only surface during runtime. So this dynamic nature highlights the importance of anticipating the potential issues. So how will you handle that exceptions? The unhandled exceptions can lead to application crashes, creating a frustrating experience for users and hindering overall usability. So we have to implement a proper exception handling ensures a smooth user experience and significantly simplifies the debugging process, which also saves the valuable development time. So here for handling the exceptions, we have three blocks. One is the try block, the next one is the catch block, then the finally block. So the try catch finally block is the cornerstone of exception handling in JavaScript, which allows the developers to manage errors gracefully without crashing the application. So first in the try block, it encloses the code that might throw an exception. So whenever a code might throw an exception, so that kind of code will be enclosed within the try block. If an error occurs here, the control is passed directly to the catch block. So here the catch block is executed if an exception is thrown in the try block. It receives the error object allowing for specific error handling logic. And next is the finally block. So the finally block will come after try and the catch block. So the finally block code within this block will always execute regardless of whether an exception occurred or was caught. So it's ideal for cleanup operations. So the first the try catch block and then the finally block and then the try catch and finally try catch will lead to the finally block and the try will give the control over to the cash flow. So next we'll see how do we master this exception handling. So for effective code exception handling is a very hallmark of a professional JavaScript developer. So while developing the code itself, we have to design in a proper way that all the exceptions, all the type of exceptions are handled in our program. For example, if we have an error in which if we are trying to open a file, the file is an external source. So if we are trying to open a file, we'll have a code regarding that. So that code should be given under your try block because the file may not be exist or the file the extension will not be proper, so we cannot able to open that file. So in such cases the file not found exception has come. So instead of interpreting the program as such, we can handle that exception using a try block, and if the file not found, the catch block will handle those exceptions. So the effective exception handling is a hallmark of professional JavaScript development. By understanding common error types and utilizing the try-catch finally structure, you can also build applications that are more resilient, user-friendly, and easier to maintain. So this approach not only improves code quality but also enhances the overall reliability and performance of all the projects we are developing. So the exceptions which should be handled properly, and it can be handled by using try catch finally block. And if an error occurs, the application crashes, which may have a very headache for a developer. Thank you.